Hello, Derek here with Coffee with Derek, coming to you from Madison Ave Studios in Owego, New York. We are on Facebook, YouTube, podcast, Twitter. So like, subscribe, listen, and follow. And today we have Nicole from IPT Nutrition and Fitness with us. And we're going to talk about some disciplines and how to get where you want to be. So grab some coffee and let's do this. So welcome, Nicole. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So give us a little background on IPT Fitness and how you came to be like a fitness and health person.
Well, for the last 18 years, I have spent my time as a physical therapist assistant. So I've done that and really felt that there was something more for me. And so about 24 months ago, I took on a new challenge and became a nutrition and fitness coach. And in the midst of doing that, found a new love, found something that was right up my alley, basically, and it allowed me to help more than one person at a time, because in addition to being a physical therapist assistant, I also was a personal trainer for 12 years, and that's a one-on-one type of service, and it also only addresses fitness. It doesn't really get into the nutrition part of it, which is the majority of the equation. So
Right.
in the last 24 months, I've been doing this, and it's brought amazing results, not only for the people that I'm working with, but also holds me accountable, keeps me walking the walk, and it was enough that I could leave my physical therapy job and do this full time, which gives me freedom. It gives me, I'm no longer geographically landlocked. It gives me all sorts of wonderful, awesome blessings. So here I am.
Yeah, and I agree with the one-on-one thing. It's nice to be able to treat people one-on-one, but it's also nice to be able to help a mass of people
Yes.
To get healthy and do things. So, and I know, I've talked in recent podcasts about just staying focused. And I mean, let's face facts. Focus is discipline, because anybody can get blown off of course. So, I mean, what do you find works as far as like, why is discipline important?
Well, I think I've had lots of practice at discipline. I've had lots of practice from the beginning of time. I mean, I can go back as far as even being a teenager and comparing myself to those that were able to stay fit, stay lean, not study for an exam, and pass with flying colors. I was never that person. I always had to work really hard, whether that be in my nutrition, whether that be in sports, or whether that be studying, to pull those grades that I was looking for. And so I found myself being very envious and jealous, two things that you shouldn't be, but really going down that path of jealousy for those that didn't have to do that. And they could just walk in, not study, pass the test with flying colors. And I'm like, you're kidding me. I've spent, the last 5 nights studying and I pulled an 80. Great.
Right. Yeah. I can definitely agree with that too, because even growing up, I didn't have any sort of like drive or discipline. I mean, I lived day to day, and that was it. As Stevie texts me last night and says, "Hey, we recording tomorrow," and I'm like, "Oh, it's Friday already." Yeah, I still live like that. But so when you say about discipline, I mean, you talked about earlier in your life, but I mean, here you are now, you're running your own business, being successful. Like, so what did the last 10, 20 years do? Like, so how did you stay focused?
Because in order to get what I wanted, I needed to stay focused. To me, nothing really comes for free. Anything of value, anyway, never comes for free. So I just have this great practice, many years of experience, and I know what I want, and I believe that It's available for anybody that believes in themselves. And, it does take grit. That's the word that comes to my mind is grit.
True grit. That is the truth.
Just delayed gratification, that nothing of value is microwave, right? David Ramsey talks all the time about, the crock pot method.
Stevie J's boy, David Ramsey.
Yeah. Crock pot method versus microwave, that there really is no microwave method. It's a crock pot, and that it's deferred. It's deferred, but that, you're living differently, so you can live later differently than others as well. So it affects, it's not just in, finances, when we talk about David Ramsey, but it's also in our health, because if we don't take care of ourselves now, we're going to pay for it later.
Right.
And I really am that kind of person that doesn't want to have to deal with regret.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to deal with woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather be that person that learns from others and then applies it now, and, to make our future ideal, optimal. You know what I mean? We're all going to be faced against, things that are out of our control. But if there's certain things that we can control, then let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I love the crock pot, versus microwave. I say, life is a marathon, not a sprint. That's my biggest thing. That's why I tell people when they, when they're calling, like, oh, I haven't this and I'm not there yet. And I'm like, yeah, well, and I've used the phrase before, like, it took me 40 years to destroy my body. It's not going to be, I'm not going to fix it in 40 days. Okay. Like, let's just face facts. I'm not going to fix it in 40 days. I'm a year into the process and I still have places to go. So, and I totally get it. And I wasn't as disciplined for most of my life like you were, but it seems like we have the same kind of goals and discipline now, which is, trying to instill that upon other people really is what sets coaches apart from just your ordinary person. Like, I understand that not everybody can coach. I totally get that, because you need a certain personality. You need a certain grasp on reality, and, and you need that discipline. You do, because even as coach, like me and Steve were just talking about this morning, like, our lives are different than most people. Like, we don't have an office to go to. We're stay-at-home people, and we work from, like you said, we're not great geographically
landlocked
to anything. And we can go. Yesterday I was in Pennsylvania meeting with other people. Today I'm here doing a podcast. So, I mean, that kind of stuff is nice, but it also throws your days out of whack, especially if you're a type A person that needs to. So, I mean, what would you say is your biggest, like, if you talk about heart and discipline, like what would be your biggest drive? Like, what is your biggest drive for you?
Freedom.
That's a good one. So what kind of freedom?
Freedom in my health. Being in, having 18 years of physical therapy experience, I got to see the tail end.
I kind of do have this crick in my neck too. We'll talk about that later.
Working at the tail end of people's lives who didn't take care of themselves.
Sure.
And now, they're struggling because they don't have the grit, because they've never had to practice it. They don't have what it takes to, say, lose weight, which would help them take the pressure off their knees significantly, which would help, a total knee, a total hip, recovery-wise, so much faster. Because the forces on those joints are just so much greater when you're overweight. And so, and that's just one area, but seeing, I see what I like and I see what I don't like. And when I see something I don't like, I'm not going down that same path.
Right.
So, from a very early age, I saw things that I didn't like and I saw things that I liked. I gravitated towards those things that were like, I was in awe of. And I ran from the things that I was like ashamed of, or like that were ugly, that were mean, you know what I mean? That were just dark, you know? And so, and then in finances, just having personal experience of actually not being so disciplined in my earlier part of my life and with my finances, and digging myself out of the debt grave was incredibly hard. I mean, it was crazy hard. And I think just like if you were to lose 100 pounds or you were to get out of debt of, say, $100,000. The grit that you had to apply to get out of those situations, in my opinion, unless there's unforeseen circumstances that are out of your control, you would never go back because the chains are heavy.
Yeah.
They are heavy. And once you break the chains, there's freedom. It's light. It's not heavy anymore. And there's joy and there's peace that comes with that. And so that's my heart.
Yeah, I completely agree. In just the whole stress aspect, like people have to see value in what they do. If you don't see value in what you do or what you're going to accomplish or what you're going to set out to do, you're going to fail. And, I see that time and time again along many things, not just what we're doing here, but just everything. You need to have that, I guess from what I'm trying to say is like, if I have to find value in whatever you're going to set out to do, if you don't find the value in it, you're never gonna be disciplined enough to seek it out.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that I talk to people about a lot, but I guess once you have the heart to figure out where it is you want to go. I mean, you said staying away from the dark, going towards the light. Like what is your, so like if you had to pick one thing, like how do you stay gold? How do you set your goals to stay disciplined?
Well, I have a why. I have a why.
Oh, why?
And if you don't have a why, then you're right. You lose the value in what you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
So you need a why. And I look at my why every day because there's days that are tough. There's days that you want to give up. And, I don't care what it is. If it's your health, if it's your finances, if it's your faith, it doesn't matter. There's days that are going to be tough and you're going to want to give up. And you have to remember your why because it's not always going to be easy. You could focus on the awesome things that are going to come. And that's great. And that's motivating.
Sure.
But there's going to be those days that you just don't got it. And you just really got to bank on certain resources and a community and, in prayer and just, rebuild yourself up because the why is bigger than those frustrating days. And, it's funny because sometimes I say, one of these days, I'm going to be irresponsible. I'm going to make an irresponsible decision. I promise. But you know what? I don't think I have it in me. I really don't, because as soon as I make that irresponsible decision, I'm going to be weighted down by chains. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And so that's what keeps me, because I know what those feelings are like. And they don't ever leave me. You know what I mean? So even though I have moved past them, I have buried them and broke the chains, like I don't forget. You know what I mean? I remember how heavy they are. And so every once in a while when, because what's that saying? They say hope deferred is, what is that?
I'm not sure.
Do you know that saying? I should have looked it up before we started, but anyway,
sorry.
It's just sometimes when your hope is deferred for a long, long, long time, like the heart gets sick.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you just got to get the grit. And, it helps to have people to encourage you. It helps people to lift you up when you're down. And we need those things. Sure.
Yeah. And I totally find that, we come from two different backgrounds, and even in our personal lives and in our careers, but I think the focal point is the same. The disciplines are different, maybe, but I think the focal points are the same. And for people to be goal driven, to actually want to go for their whys, I think is where people struggle. I think they lose sight of their whys, and that's where they start to they start to sway and they start to fail. I mean, there's the above the line thinking, below the line thinking. And there's the above the line actions and below the line actions, and having those whys. I have them too. I have a board at my house that I have my whys written down. Do they change from time to time? Maybe a little bit. Are they a little different now that I have kids in a family than maybe if you had asked me the same question 20 years ago? Absolutely. The 20 years ago, I could care less about. I mean, like I use my body, treated my body like an amusement park. Now I can't, I got to stay above the line because I got people that depend on me, I'm sure it's the same as you. So, no, I totally get it. And, being disciplined to get your goals, to have the right heart, and to focus on your whys. mean, that can go in just about every aspect of life.
Absolutely. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more you obtain those goals, the next goals seem more obtainable. Even the ones that you thought were so far out, like when I set out on my health journey, when I first said that I wanted to lose 80 pounds, I thought it was like, forget it. There's no way I'm going to make 80 pounds, but I'll put it there because it was a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I blew past that goal, I was like, oh, well, this is kind of easy. I'll go for another 15 or 20, so totally. And, to just see that, or like you said, like finances is huge. I mean, how many people can't sleep at night because they can't pay their bills?
Yep.
And to be able to get that financial freedom, then it doesn't matter what you do. Again, focusing on your whys. If you really have the heart for your whys, you may be pleasantly surprised on where those disciplines may lay.
Right. And, we those that have discipline, that practice discipline, are really the minority. Mm-hmm. They're really the minority of who we're working with. So don't be surprised, if you're having a conversation about something that you're going to implement in your life that is different, that is going to be enforcing discipline in your life, that people might look at you like you have four heads, because it's not the norm. It's definitely the minority to be that different person that pays cash for things, that doesn't, completely indulge in the things that are at the cookout, that everybody else is indulging in. It's definitely odd man out, but it's okay to be odd man out.
Yeah. And, I find it across multiple regions of life too, because, we talk a lot about, the healthy mind, healthy body, healthy soul, healthy finances, and, trying to get all those focused in one. I found that when I go for those four, it just seems like everything kind of just lays itself out anyway. Mm-hmm. The smaller I keep my mindset, the more focused I am. I try and just stick on a couple of things instead of going across the board, because when I really sit down and I really, get into my heart and just sit there and, whether it's going to church or sitting at home or talking to my kids, it's like, really, when you boil down what really matters, I bet you those whys, a lot of those whys will just lay themselves out into a priority.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I know with even with my family, the impact that I have around my family, I know is, as far as what I'm doing and what they're doing, is impactful. It's not just me. I'm sure you have the same thing with your family.
Right. So I refer that as planting seeds.
Yeah.
So, often you could be that person in a crowd that says something about discipline in an area of your life, and it just plants a little seed in somebody that is listening to you. And maybe they don't do anything right then and there about what you said, but it's going to resonate with them maybe in 3 months, 6 months, a year. I'll give you a perfect example. One time, my husband and I were leading a Money Matters course at church, and about a year after that class had taken place, I received a message from a woman who never took my class, but when they were advertising for the class, there was a video of my husband and I talking about it and our personal experience of going through Total Money Matters ourselves. And she reached out to me a year later and said, I just want you to know that video I watched a year ago put a seed in my heart, and my husband and I were struggling with tithing. And I can tell you a year later, we started tithing to the level that we should have been.
Well,
I mean, like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Because we didn't know that was affecting anybody, but yet here we are just... Sure. Wanting to help others to create some financial freedom, and you never know.
Yeah, and I have a similar story. My wife took a class at church about financial freedom that I excused myself from, and funny now, I'm the hammer at the house now. I used to be like the, oh yeah, let's get that, or let's go there, or whatever. We only live once, and now I'm like, well, I don't want to have a house payment anymore. So do we really need to go out to dinner tonight? No. I mean, it's just stupid things like that. But, we have a goal. And, for my family, like you said, setting the seeds. We started a vision board for our family, and when the kids come up to us and say, "Oh, Dad, I gotta have this new thing for Fortnite," blah 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 blah, and I'm like, "Well, but did you want to go to the Steeler game this month?" "Oh yeah." "And you wanted an AB jersey, right?" "Oh yeah."
Choices, yeah.
And then he's like, "All right, I don't need that." So it's like, but sometimes you just gotta, I don't want to say dumb it down, but then they sit there and they're like, "Oh, right, okay." So I was actually sharing this with one of my pastors the other day that I drew I have our vision board and our dreams and goals for this year. And on that dreams and goals, I said to the kids, do whatever you want, the whole family, whatever you want to put in there. Well, Tyler wants to go to Ireland and he wants to go here. And my daughter wanted to redo her room and my wife wants to read the Bible. And, I had a whole bunch of different things on there. But what I did was I drew a picture of the house. I said, well, let's not forget the house because the house needs gutters. The house needs a driveway. The house needs a this, that, and the other thing. So as we started doing things, I started crossing off. And then I started, then the kids see that and they're like, "Dad, what's the house for?" I'm like, "Oh, because, all that stuff costs money. And those are all things that need to be done to the house. We need to have a washer. We need to have a dryer. We need a new refrigerator, all these things." And they're like, and I put the money. This is what it's going to cost. This is what it's going to cost. And then, I remember my daughter walking in, "Dad, that's like over $10,000. I'm like, "Yeah, that's over $10,000. And that's just for this stuff. And let's not even, hopefully nothing will happen this year, but these are all the things." And then they start like, "Oh, okay, So totally. And it's great that we're able to do that. I mean, I've been gifted with being able to help others, and I've been blessed myself. Now I'm blessing others, as I know you are too. Even to get here, like so many pathways happened, even for us to talk and to get here, which is nothing short of. I mean, there's no coincidences here, and everything was set before we even knew this was even going to happen, and I think that kind of drives our inner disciplines that. We have a pathway that as long as our hearts are open and our minds are listening, they're gonna get worked out for us. And it's just we are where we need to be. That's right. How I look at it.
Just living your life in obedience and putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Is just allows for, God to open up doors and close doors. And, as long as we're being obedient, then it's all good, and you can expect that. It's funny you talk about finances and your kids. We've actually sat down and we did the Total Money Makeover with the two older kids, and much to their dismay. But I actually see them implementing certain things, you know what I mean? And so it's good for them because I wish my parents set me down, to teach me about finances. My parents probably didn't have the same intensity of their finances or their focus. Their focus was different than mine is as a parent. But I really wish that they had done that. I mean, when I think back, the only time that I actually had financial advice was in school when they taught us about the checkbook. That's all I can remember. And so if I can set my kids far from where I had to go to learn my lesson, well, that's what I want to do. Because to me, outside of them having a faith, having financial freedom is my second priority for them.
Yeah, it is huge. And like you said, they don't really teach those things in school. And not to fault people, but like some people just they don't have that mentality. They just don't have that mind frame to say 10 years from now, 20 years from now, like where are my kids going to be? Like me and my wife, our kids both have accounts. They both have, their own accounts at the bank. And, when they want, as I say, nonsense things, they got to work for it. I'll give them clothes, food, whatever. But when they really got to go above and beyond, they got to figure it out. I mean, this last year, my daughter wanted to go to just went totally gone. Kingdom Bound, thank you. She wanted to go to Kingdom Bound, and I sat her down and was like, "Listen, this thing is expensive, and it's going to cost a lot of money." And she goes, "That's fine. I'm gonna help out." So she decided she was going to make things and sell them. So her goal was to send herself and a friend to Kingdom Bound, and she ended up sending herself and two friends. She made over $1,200.
awesome. That's
And
awesome.
you know, that life lesson for her, like I had her keep a book, and then she started realizing like, well, I gotta go buy stuff, Dad. Well, you're gonna buy it? And I'm like, no, I'm not buying. That's you gotta figure this all out. Like, you know, so I see that she donated $1,200, but she actually probably made 14 because she had to buy $200 worth of product just to keep it going, because she kept getting people calling, and they wanted this and that, da da da. So, but like I said, you know, I think that was a huge learning experience for her.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, like I see her, like the way that she talks about money, and she's like, well, if I do this and then that, but you know, now she's already talking about next year's Kingdom Bound, because she realized like how much work it was to raise that kind of money. She's like, Dad, I want to get started now. Like I want to start working now, whatever I'm going to do to start making stuff and selling things and start saving up now. And I'm like, yeah, because if you want to do it, if you want to go more, you know, you see what it took for you to do it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in the short amount of time that you did. I mean, in probably 6 weeks, she raised $1,200. She was going crazy, and it was a great experience. It was great for me to watch her. You know, it was great for me to watch her share it, because I made her do everything. So like she had to give the money to the church. She had to tell everybody what it was from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so she didn't want her friends necessarily to know that it was from her, but I mean, they all figured it out anyway, because she walked in with like $800 in cash in an envelope and then gave it to the pastor. So like they knew, and even the pastor talked about it at church one day. Was like, oh, we have a little girl downstairs who's, you know, her heart is so big that she's done blah blah. But like, so it was nice. So she was able to send 2 of her friends and herself fully paid to the Kingdom Bound. It was a remarkable thing to see. But you know, even talking about the discipline, like the discipline she had, she set that goal and blew it away, and then she didn't stop. You know, so
Right.
that was nice to see.
Her victory was motivating.
Yeah,
You know,
it was truly motivating.
and that's how we feel too. You know, like whether it be finishing a fitness program from start to finish,
Mhm.
that's, you know, beyond, you know, maybe muscle strength and cardiovascular changes and maybe some weight loss. There is a victory over, I set out to do this and I finished it, whether it be
Right.
4 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever the case might be, but you finished it. And so it's deeper than just the superficial things or the physical things that we're seeing.
Sure.
And that is enough drive to keep people going for more, because
Right.
that's exciting, that's thrilling. And so you get hungry for more, you know, and that's a motivating factor in being disciplined.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's all good stuff. So just want to thank you for coming out and joining us here on Coffee with Derek. And again, this is Nicole from IPT Nutrition and Fitness. And I believe you're based out of Owego as well, correct?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
So look her up if you have any questions. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.